can you tell the folks who's going to be on the Patreon page this week? Special guest.
Special guest this Saturday, Pat Godwin, singer, songwriter, regular on the Bob and Tom radio show. And great interview, half hour or so, chatting with Pat. And nice clip of him singing his new song, Nobody Has Pubes Anymore.
Hysterical.
Join today, patreon.com/the2dicks.
That's a /.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Talking Dicks. We're a couple of dicks we like to talk. We're a spin-off podcast because of the pandemic from the popular web series The Two Dicks. Al Romas is in Tampa. I'm Al Ducharme. I'm in Los Angeles, Studio City, whatever you want to call it. 104 degrees outside that door right over there, Al.
I've been seeing on Twitter a lot of comics getting out of California. They're leaving. They're going back wherever they came from.
Yep, more stage time for me.
Yeah, different guys taking off, going back to Jersey, Florida, wherever. Yeah.
Well, these are guys, I mean, it's the pandemic, and some of them are on the fence anyways, I'm assuming, of how much longer can I do this here. I'm always on the road. I get more work back east. And this is a deciding factor for them, being on unemployment. And now's the time to make some moves to get ready for next year. But this year is going to be rough. I know you just did a show, and you were pleased with that live performance in Florida.
I did. Helen Keeney, who wasn't feeling well, she had the gig. She gave it to me, the gig, not the COVID. And
she doesn't have COVID.
She's negative. She tested negative. She's feeling good. She's back on HSN, but it was a good gig. You know, it's interesting, the pandemic, how it changes everything. You know what I mean? A year ago, I would have saw this gig. I wouldn't have done it. I would have been like, no, I'm not doing this kind of a gig. I'm past that. But there's no work, and they made it. You know, the effort was there. They had a stage outdoors, but with a roof. About 50, 60 people at tables on the sidewalk. They closed down the street. Mm-hmm. It was about 1,000 degrees on that stage. I'll tell you. It was goddamn brutal.
Well, you have that heavy humidity down there in Tampa too, right? So
a lot of humidity. Yeah, and I did an hour, which is a long time outside an hour. But the crowd was good.
And you lost 4 or 5 ounces.
At least, and I still have my hair. I was supposed to.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to the wig shop today, and my girl texted me. She's got a migraine. She's like, "Well, would you mind if we do it on Friday?" I'm like, I was mentally prepared for a haircut today.
I've got a wig shop woman. I've got a wig shop woman. No.
By the way, what's up with the cap today? You look like you're a cab driver in 1955. You look like you're a golf caddy for in the 1800s.
Are you done?
What's happening? You look like a boxing manager from the early 20s.
Get in there! That guy's gonna knock you to Mars, Rock.
Yeah. What's going
this
on with the
lid is from my late father-in-law, Daniel Paulie. Daniel Paulie was a horse trainer for many years down at the Suffolk Downs horse track in Revere Beach, Massachusetts. And then when he was a senior citizen, he became a taxi driver, a cab driver.
Oh, there
you did nail it. You did nail it.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of the look. That's the look. Yeah, it looks good.
Good man.
It's not a bad look on you as far as that goes. But anyway, I got some cash money on Sunday.
Is my partner hitting on me? Is that what's happening here?
I'm lonely. It's been a long time.
Stay in the closet. Just stay in the closet.
I'm staying in the closet. I got a little cash money, and there were 2 other comics on there, kind of openers, and got to hang out with them and bullshit. Like after the show, a couple beers, talked about some comedy. That's always good.
How far apart were you?
Table outside, so like 3, 4, 5, 6 feet. I don't know. We were socially distant.
Well, it's 6 feet. Did you have your mask handy?
I had a mask in my pocket because to go indoors and use the facilities, you needed a mask.
But outside,
And outside, no mask, sir. No. I got to live my life, buddy.
I'm trying to.
I won't live in fear.
Well, yeah, as you know, as I told you before, I've always felt like I really was super disciplined about everything, but it's 5.5 months going on 6 months, and people are done. People are like,
Well,
fuck this.
these people were good. I mean, they had their, outside, there was distance. They didn't have the mask because if you have an audience with masks on,
No.
forget it. It's
As long as they had the seat separated by,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah. But it went well. I mean, it was good. I thank Helen for the gig, and I'm doing a gig with her in November, I think. So yeah, this is the schedule right now. This is the kind of thing I'm doing, and hopefully we'll be back at some point in clubs and ships. But at this point, mid-August, I don't know.
We'll see.
Doesn't look good. It's not looking good right now on volume. What are we on? 41.
This
41
is
of these now?
number 41. Yes. It's funny because you're getting gigs either falling in your lap. I'm not pursuing regular gigs, live gigs.
Yeah.
I seem like I spend a lot of my time taking cancellations of gigs. I was fortunate, as you know, we were booked out a year in advance in some cases, and it just every month they keep canceling a month or two. It's just.
Yeah, I haven't really I've just been lucky. There's a few clubs that have been open, and they're not really bringing in people right now. They're not going to fly in people. So
No, I don't want to get on a plane.
I'm local. No, so I'm local in that way, and I take it. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I just want to. Now I've done it enough where I'm not afraid that I'll forget my act. Like earlier on, I was, I don't know if I'm going to do this again, but I got that down. I got the act down. I know what I'm doing. So, and again, I did an hour. So that's a long in that heat.
That's a long time, not just for a performer, but for the audience to watch somebody for an hour.
Yeah.
Or more, an hour and a half, hour and 45 with 3 comics.
Yeah. About 45 minutes in, the booker, I had a beer on stage, and the booker sent me a glass of tequila. Must have been about that. That's a shot nowadays. You know
That's
what I mean?
a double.
Like, remember shot glasses? Yeah. Shot glasses when we were kids, young.
Don't exaggerate, but yeah, they were little, and now they're like.
It's a glass. It's a glass of tequila, and hey, do it, kill it. All right, kill it. But I was so hot, I don't even think I tasted it. It was just liquid. I was like, thank you.
And you probably just sweat it right out.
Yeah, it was great. And then I bit into the old lime and finished up. I got paid, and then the guy writes me, "Hey, buddy, I had some Cuban cigars for you. I left them in my car. Oh, next time." I'm like, "Oh, you bastard! I would have rather had that than the money." Not really, but you know what I mean.
I think he was lying to you.
You think so?
I think he maybe he was going to bring them for you, and he's like, "No, I'm going to keep those. I'm going to keep those."
I don't know. He wants to do more gigs, so we'll see. I told him I'd rather just do them with Helen, split the time and the money. I don't really need the young opener, open micer type guy and do an hour. I'd rather split it with Helen.
What do you do? Co-headline.
40,
co-headline.
35. Yeah,
that's what we used to call it. Co-headlining.
Co-headlining.
Yeah, and if you do more than one show, you switch up the order.
I like when these guys do their co-middling. It's like, really? No, you're opening, douche. You're an MC. You're not co-middling. What are you talking about? So
I'm trying to prepare myself to host and feature and just work on a new act.
Uh-huh.
Forget the money.
Where's that?
Forget the money.
Where's that?
Just go out and take any gig.
Well,
just go bananas.
Well, if you can do it, if you can afford to, that's great.
I can't. That's why it's not going to happen.
But that would be great. Yeah, that's the old theory. That's why like New York was great and all you're doing sets and you could work on material.
Running around.
It didn't matter the money.
Doing 2, 3, 4, 5 shows in a night. And you're trying to remember if you repeated anything, but you're trying out new stuff. You're fearless. There's
that's the problem.
You don't care if you have a mediocre show if you're concentrating on the material to get it down because you're just running around.
Well, that's the irony. Then you get good enough to work, and then you're working for money, and then you can't try out the real new stuff because you have to kind of kill every night. You can't be on a stage with 900 people and try out some new bit. You don't know it works, so we don't really get a chance. So this is actually an opportunity if you take it. I mean, there was no pressure on this gig Sunday night. If I did well, good. If I didn't do well, well, who cares really? You know what I mean? We're outdoors.
And for all you new folks out there that want to step into stand-up comedy, go fuck yourself.
Well, that leads us to a question, sir.
We have a question.
We have a question.
Questions.
Yes, we had a question on Instagram, 2dicks2, and our question was from somebody saying, advice, it just says advice for new comics. And I think you just told them. Told them to go fuck themselves.
I did not see the question in advance. He's in Tampa. He does his little envelope prep. And then, nope, that was it. So
very little prep, as you can see.
It's a different animal now. It has been for the last decade. It's all about social media and about a presence and branding. And there's so many people that became YouTube stars, and then they dip into stand-up comedy. They have the following, but they don't have the goods. So they can sell out a crowd, but after 10 minutes.
Right. Well, it was interesting. The guy I worked with, he's a new guy, and one of his questions was, we were talking, and he goes, how many years is it before I can start flying? How many years is that going to take before I can start flying? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because he was doing a gig. He had a gig on Sunday. He was going to drive like 6 hours. I go, yeah. I get it. He goes, yeah, I'm driving 6 hours for one show. I'm like, yeah, right. Then you want to know flying. I go, yeah, it's 4.2 years, and then you begin flying. What the fuck?
How about you do, it's a math equation. How much is it round trip to get to the club, rent a car, hotel overnight? If you're going to spend 12 hours in your vehicle, are you spending the night? Are you spending how much on gas? It's a mathematical equation. So if he's talking about how far along in stand-up comedy, how good he is.
Yeah, he wanted to know. He's asking how long till I headline and get paid and fly. You know, it's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
You get offered to headline, and then you decide whether or not the headline money you're getting at the time, you have to earn it, is whether or not it's feasible to fly in or drive. And it all depends. Up in the Northeast corridor, when I was doing it, you go, okay, if I do this and then I hit this, there's a Tuesday night gig on the way home, I'll drive the whole damn thing, and then I'll actually pocket more money, and I'll go get to see the mountains, or go ski.
No, you got to look at it. But exactly. And that'd be. So, do you have advice for new comic? I don't really. I just think yes. You got to be on stage. That's the whole
stage
thing.
time.
Just keep working. Stage time, and this is a horrible time, obviously, to be starting because there is no stage time. You can write a joke and try it out 4 months later. You don't know, if it's going to work or not. You have no idea. So, but other than that, there's no shortcuts. I think they're looking for a shortcut. There isn't. You got to just go on stage like every night. Maybe move to once this clears up, a major city.
Some hub where there's a lot of comedy activity. But
and where you could drive out of and be, like Midwest somewhere. A lot of guys were in Cincinnati, Kentucky, and then you could drive to all those gigs and within 3-4 hours. But you're in the middle of Florida or South Florida, there's not much.
And plan on being frugal unless you have a trust fund, because it's rough out there.
Well,
it also builds up your character, and it's an interesting. I'm glad I did it. I had so many years on the road.
Well, you can't look at it money-wise either. You got to look at it just trying to get good and then having fun.
Yes.
It was a blast.
I had a great time. I was poor as shit. It wasn't about the money. It was about becoming a stand-up comedian, and then once that happened,
and collecting those stories. You have these stories that no one has, and yet people want to hear all the time. People love these stories from the road or whatever, but. Yeah, you got to work it, man.
Got to work it, and then you could be a Pinecone.
I don't know what that means.
Isn't it symbolic? This Pinecone.
Pinecone.
It's Pinecone, right?
Wouldn't that be I equate that with Christmas. I go, Pinecone's Christmas.
Well, there's a 60-foot pine tree separating the two properties here, and this thing fell. And I heard.
I didn't know. I've never been invited, so I wouldn't know.
Put on a mask and come on over. This fell from the very tippity top of the pine tree, bounced on the lawn, flipped, and and then
Wow.
rolled fully intact. And I thought it was symbolic, so I took it in the house, and my wife said, "Does it have bugs in it? Get it out of here!" But
I would ask the same question.
but it smelled like pine for several weeks, and now it's
well,
symbolic.
at least I'm hoping that story will be edited. That was horrible. Let's just be the Pinecone story. Maybe a blooper reel, extras on Patreon. We'll put it on the Patreon page someday. Extras from the Two Dicks, and we'll lead with the Pinecone story. No?
Did you see what happened last episode when I shut the power down on him and he was crying, "Put me back on! Hey, come on!"
Very rude.
I have the power.
Hey, I heard on your personal front, are you a great uncle now? Is that what's happened?
No,
Do you have a... Not yet?
not yet. My niece is due. I think she was due 2 days ago, so they may have to induce her to introduce my niece into the world.
All right. I'm waiting for my my cigar. I'm a great uncle.
Yes. Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Great uncle.
Great,
Yeah.
Gran or great? What am I?
I don't know how. I think it's... I thought it would be great, like great-grand...
I'm not a
great-granddaughter,
grand uncle. A grand.
I don't know,
a
man.
Grand uncle.
I think it'd be great. I think it would be great, but we'll wait. Someone will put in the comments. Someone will correct us and let me know that it's great. I think it's a great uncle, but I could be...
Well, hopefully by the
wrong.
time this podcast ends, Penelope will be in the world and we'll get to meet her, and I'll perhaps post a picture. How's that?
Maybe we'll put an interview with her on the Patreon.
Maybe I'll give her the pine cone so that she can have it by her bedstand.
Oh, that would be a lovely
by her
gift.
crib.
Yes, a lovely gift from Uncle Alfred. A pine cone that fell off a high tree in between two housing.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks.
Going over there.
Oh my
I have no idea how.
Subscribe.
I thought we were about 8 and we were floundering.
If you shoot me, you won't see a cent of that money.